action or heist I've ever seen. You had multiple of the foreign venues banks were in serious trouble because of their short positions on silver. All of a sudden, they're having emergency talks with the privately owned and operated Federal Reserve. Then all of a sudden, machinations get made, and the quote-unquote silver price takes a dip. It dropped a lot. And those quote-unquote banks jumped in to acquire as much of that silver as they could at that lowered price. And then they exited all their positions. So those that were looking at being liquidated and going out of business suddenly got that matter off their backs. Wow. Clean sweep. Then you also have the other thing that's happening. Other machinations. A few Earth days ago, this was all a concern for us because it was doing to the silver price, which was messing with our ability to put together a fiscal budget proposal properly, because we had to deal with the potential inflation and potential deflation effects of the movement of silver up or down, and how that would impact the buying power of whatever silver we have on hand throughout the course of the next fiscal budget law, whatever it may be. Well, we have since taken measures. We've taken some steps that made that no longer a threat for us, a concern for us. And so we have moved past that. The rest of the planet, on the other hand, not so much. It has yielded forth additional uncertainty for those that do the non-substance game, and those that do the fractional reserve, quote-unquote, banking game, and those that do the fractional reserve metal game. Since we don't play any of those games, it doesn't impact us at all directly. Those that either buy our products or we do trade for or trade with, they, on the other hand, are going to have issues directly and indirectly. We would have them. If parties are having an issue acquiring the metals to do transactions with us with, because they can't afford the metals, that means our potential for commerce and trade and export of our products and services is threatened. Working with the Imperial Council to get things where we are, which is we've added copper as a medium of exchange. 99.9% fine copper is now included along with the other means of exchange that we have, platinum, gold, and silver. That allows us to price things in fine silver now, which is how we were able to get around the concerns about deflation or inflation with the budget proposal before the Imperial Council right now. Well, these things also impact business establishment within the Amexem-Moor-Empire, unit prices of things for products that's produced by a business inside of the Amexem-Moor-Empire, or a service provided by a business within the Amexem-Moor-Empire, so on and so forth. So now we're able to provide better guidance to those that are in good standing before the Imperial Business Registrar. They're able to get back on track with their general operations now that they can price things, not that business owner operators can price things in copper. Where we are going, regardless of what happens with any particular foreign jurisdiction, we remain decoupled from all of the crazy, because a lot of them are still doing the non-substance game. Others are just starting to come into realization that they have to hedge. So they are making moves to, in fact, hedge. And that hedge movements bring them into alignment with what we've been doing the whole time as per our Constitution. We only transact in platinum, gold, and silver. That's the only way to convey title in one direction or another, because you cannot pay a debt with debt. And again, the old adage, fair exchange is no robbery, which is the basis upon as to why you're able to transfer or convey title in one direction or another. So instead of renting, allegedly, you actually get to own whatever you transacted for. It gives you recourse and remedy relevant unto anything that is seized, not forfeited, seized. Something that has been seized, you have the ability to act upon it. If things have been forfeited, depending on what they were forfeited for, you may have an action in the future depending on essay, or you might not. It all depends on particular circumstances, and also depends on your ability to mount your arguments and prepare for counter arguments to make sure that you achieve what you need to unto quantum merit, which most do not know how to do, and most don't even have the standing to do. Another story for another time. Not our issue, not our problem, not our fight. I just know that the changes that are occurring across the planet because of those playing the nonsense games and watching folks do a heist right before their eyes didn't last long, because you see the quote-unquote silver price and gold price are already rising. They don't care. They have already exited, those particular quote-unquote banks have already exited their positions, so they're good now as far as they're concerned. And they really want to see the gold and silver price go up, because now, because of Basel III, as some would call it, they are now, these various banks are now seeing gold and silver on their balance sheets as a great thing, because they are now tier 1 assets according to Basel III. As a consequence of this, well, at least the gold is. As a consequence of this, banks have and banking houses have no vested interest in shorting gold or silver anymore, because since they've been acquiring gold and silver, especially the gold now. Well, the better the pricing as they look at it goes on the gold, the higher that asset is on their balance sheet. So it'll be suicide for them to want to short gold, because now it will harm their balance sheet. And since they're attempting to not be taken over and liquidated, they can't afford to have anything on their balance sheet that says they cannot pass a quote-unquote banking stress test. So the math doesn't lie. The traders might, and generally do. Those engaged in the organized gambling pit called the commodities market, or the so-called stock market, they're going to lie. What is physical will effectively shut down the lies. Unfortunately, you have a lot of folks that have bought a lot of paper that's supposed to be tied back to some silver somewhere. Problem is, a lot of folks have gotten into ETFs for silver. A lot of folks are holding certificates for silver that does not physically exist. So they'll get nothing. If they bought it through a particular fund, if the fund is going to be getting liquidated, which basically means their quote-unquote stock price is gone, and they've been overtaken by regulators and being prepared to be shut down. Well, if you bought into that particular ETF, you get nothing, and you're going to get the physical silver. So you lose twice.